Hey everyone, Dockwell here, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at a Position 4 tier list for patch 7.29D, and as I said in the off-lane tier list, it looks like we're not going to be getting another patch until after the TI qualifiers are over, so that should be like another few weeks, another month. So I'm just going to make this 4-position and 5-position tier list so that we can you can just have these for a while, and it'll still be relevant. It won't be obsolete in like a day or anything. So without further ado, we'll jump in, and as usual, I'll say that I combine pro meta with pub meta. I look at win rates and all those kinds of things just to try to even everything out and look and see what's the best, because sometimes what the pros pick isn't always what's best in pubs. So I try to kind of mash everything together and give you a good feel for what's good and what's not, just in general. But as always, if you are really good at a hero or are maining a hero, it's the hero you mainly play, sometimes this won't apply, but just to give you a general idea of what's overpowered. And lastly, what I'll say before we start taking a look at each individual hero is that the distribution here is a little odd, because I think that there's just, with support, there's just a lot of heroes that are either really, really good or not as good. I think it's almost like you can divide it right here at B tier. These heroes are pretty good. These heroes are just kind of standard. And honestly, these heroes are just like OP, and then these heroes are just like almost OP, and then the rest are like, I don't know, B tier is sort of that middle of the road, obviously, as B tier, but it just feels like there's like really, really good supports and then kind of just whatever supports right now. And the other thing to comment on is also that there's a lot of like crossover between 4 and 5 position these days, especially in pros, where you can just pick two supports and make them go either way. Or to either lane or either position. It's just a matter of whether or not you want to get farm on that hero and whether it uses farm. So that's the main consideration, honestly, with whether a hero is 4 or 5. But that's all I have to say for the introduction to this hero tier list. So let's just jump into the individual heroes. First, we'll take a look at Nyx Assassin in the S tier. And this hero is just kind of, I don't know, all around good. I think it's good now, especially in pros, because it obviously has a stun. It gives a lot of good vision and scouts, and is able to pick off heroes and do a lot of damage. But also, heroes like Medusa and other carries that rely on mana are really, really popular right now. And like other int heroes and things like this that you can do a ton of damage and burn a lot of mana with this mana burn. So honestly, I think mana burn is one of the biggest reasons for this hero to be good, because I mean, it also has this burrow and things like that. And its Ag Shard is also really, really good. But the mana burn, I think, is one of the biggest reasons why this hero is good, because of like I said, Medusa and all those other things. So that's why Nyx is good, but also just the all-around kit, I think, is generally good as well. So Nyx is just one of those heroes I think is mostly situational in the pros, but he's just so hotly contested that you have to put him in S tier. So we'll move on from him, and we'll go next to Phoenix. Phoenix is kind of not the opposite of Nyx, but it doesn't have a stun. It doesn't have like that vision control, but what it does have is insane damage and team fight. This hero feels like you can just dominate the game and carry from the 4 position because of the insane damage you're doing. It also lanes really well. Like when I'm playing against a 4 position Phoenix, I just hate this hero because it's just so annoying, and it like spends all its resources to annoy me as the carry, and it just doesn't feel like it doesn't feel as good to try to chase it, because it has its dive, and it's a 4 position, so it's not like last hitting. It just feels so awful to play against this 4 position hero sometimes as a carry. And then later in the game, dude, you can do insane damage with your percentage based damage. You have crazy team fight if you're good at this hero and know how to use eggs. It just seems like such an overpowered hero that you can, like I said, carry from the 4 position. So that's honestly, its kit is just so good that Phoenix is just an S tier hero right now. And then next we have Snapfire. This hero is just really good in terms of all of its main kit. It has a slow, it has a stun, it does crazy teamfight damage with its ult. It's just one of these heroes that if you get farm, you can get the Ags on it. That's why it's in 4 position. It can be a great Ags carrier and those kinds of things. So it's just an all-around really good hero. It can play 5 position too, because it doesn't need farm. It's just that if you get some farm on the hero, it can be also really, really good. It's just, I think its kit is overpowered. Obviously, as a new hero, it just hasn't been nerfed enough, but it keeps getting nerfed anyway, and it's still really good. So that's honestly Snapfire. There's not too much to say other than its kit is generally so overpowered that it can play really, really good as support and either lane, either position 4 or 5, and even can play mid sometimes as well, although you don't see that too often anymore. And then next we have Lion. This Lion hero is just a standard Dota hero has 2 stuns, a hex, which is really, really good, can do a ton of burst damage with the finger, and then as a 4 position can get like Ags and Blink pretty quickly, and then initiate, do tons of damage if that you get that Ags and those kinds of things. And also now with the later levels of Finger of Death, it's only 40-second cooldown, which is really, really good compared to, like, I don't know, in the past, it was still a long cooldown on the highest level. So as a 4 position, you can do a lot. And then also, as a 4 position, you'll probably get this Agnum's Shard, which causes mana drain to affect 3 enemies, and you become spell immune while channeling. So normally this mana drain ability was good in the laning stage, but after the laning stage, you just kind of felt like it was useless because you don't want to be standing there in the middle of a team fight, just slowly draining mana from somebody. But now, while you do that, you're BKB'd, so you can't be stunned, you can't be hit by magic damage, and it deters the enemy from really going on you, and especially with heroes, like I said, like Medusa and other things like that, and even illusion heroes like Terrorblade and all of that kind of stuff in the meta right now. This hero just feels so good when you get that Ag Shard, because you can just stand there, you use that on 3 heroes, or, you know, you make 2 illusions disappear, and then you're using it on the 3rd hero, and you're just magic immune. The other team can't like do anything to you without committing a lot to go on you, but you're just a lion, just like, you know, mana draining. And then plus the rest of your kit is so good. So I think that Agnum's Shard is really the reason why this hero is good, like S tier, but it's good overall regardless of that Agnum's Shard. But in general, that Agnum's Shard I think is what makes it that S tier hero. And then we have Dark Willow. I think Dark Willow is really, really good right now, S tier hero, because in pubs, it can just be so annoying. It's another hero that the Ags Shard is the reason this hero is so annoying, because basically what happens is when Cursed Crown is applied, and then whether it's dispelled through Manta or anything like that, or BKB or anything, it applies another Bramble on the ground. So you basically have 2 Bramble Maze spells in one, or not 2 in 1, but you have this one, and then you have Bramble within this Cursed Crown, and basically it forces carries to just like pop BKB. Like, Manta is not good enough to get rid of this, because you place this on the ground, you place this on them, and then they like have to BKB to get out of it, because even if they Manta, well then there comes the second Bramble, and there's just like Brambles everywhere, and you can't get out of it, so it's so annoying. And so this hero can just deny like pushes, can deny ramps, can deny like just areas of the map with these 2 abilities. And then obviously you have the other 3 abilities, which are really, really good. High damage output. You have the fear, which is really annoying. All of those kinds of things. This hero, especially as a 4 position with farm, can also do like insane damage and scale into the late game if you've ever played with a really good Dark Willow player. So this hero just overpowered because it's just generally good, but then it has like 2 Bramble mazes that like forces the carrier mid to pop BKB if you're using it correctly. So I think that's the main reason that this hero is an S tier hero. And then lastly, we have Hoodwink, and Hoodwink is just OP because as a new hero, its skills are too good. They do way too much damage, stun for way too long, and just seem insane right now. Honestly, as a carry player, if you see a 4 position Hoodwink, sometimes you're like, oh shit, I can't even try to kill this Hoodwink, because if this Hoodwink gets a stun on me, you know, if the Hoodwink uses its full ability kit on me, the Hoodwink might burst me full to 0. And even if it doesn't, if there's one other hero near the Hoodwink, I'm pretty much dead. And that is insane. Like, you should feel that maybe with a carry, you know, carry versus carry matchup, carry versus mid. There should be those kinds of matchups, carry versus offlane even, maybe, you know. But to feel that way against a 4 position solo or a 4 position 1v2, it just seems crazy. Like, this hero just does so much damage with its full ability kit, and then especially the ultimate. And the other thing about the ultimate is it applies a break and an insane slow. So like, once you get hit with this thing, like, even if you're still like 25% HP, well, you're just slowed forever. You're broken. So if you have any armor or tankiness or any kind of thing that's a passive ability, it's just gone for the duration, and just allows another hero on the enemy team to just come and finish you off. And so because of that, this hero just feels so good. With applying that break, it's one of the fewer breaks in the game. There's like the Viper Spit, Nether Toxin or whatever, and the item, not a Silver Edge. That's like the 2 or 3 breaks. I don't even know. I can't even think of another one. I think Nyx had one, but now doesn't. So there's just so few breaks in the game right now that this ability is just so good against any hero that has a passive ability that they rely on, like Tide or something like that. Usually a lot of offlaners, even some carries, rely on these these passives like Dragon Knight and those kinds of things. So yeah, that is basically the reason why this hero is so good. And that is the S tier. And now we'll move on to the A tier. A tier, we have Lina and Mirana. They're really good, like high damage with Lina. You have a good stun, high range with right clicks. Just an overall pretty good right clicking 4 position. Also can play some mid, just pretty popular right now. And then Mirana, really good hero with like vision, with making everybody invisible, especially in pubs, especially the lower you get in MMR, the more this hero is just OP because you make everybody invisible and people don't buy dust or sentries. And then obviously if you have a good arrow setup, this hero feels like extremely overpowered because you just stun people forever. So that hero can feel really good. Shadow Shaman is like kind of like Lion, I always say, where it has like 2 stuns. It can feel really good. Just instead of Lion bursting people down, this Shadow Shaman can push towers pretty well and team fight with his ultimate. But then the reason why he's probably A tier is he doesn't have that extra shard that makes him that much better than that the Lion shard allows him to be. So, but he's still really good because of his kit. And then Enchantress, this hero can kind of feel underwhelming if you don't know how to play him or it's not the right lineup. There's a lot of magic damage, but if you're against a lot of like right clickers and they don't have a lot of magic damage and you know how to play this hero, you can just walk up into the enemy's face and they can do absolutely nothing to you. And it feels like you're just another core hero from the 5 position or 4 position. And then with the 4 position, you can get some farm and just do an insane amount of healing. Just be really annoying in fights. Just walk up into the middle of the enemy team and just be like, hey, come at me, you can't kill me. And so this hero can feel really overpowered with those abilities. So that's my A tier. And then B tier here, we're finally falling off. We have Earth Spirit. If you're a good Earth Spirit player, he's pretty good right now. But if you're not, don't play this hero. You're going to suck with him. And then Tiny, we have a pretty good hero, but like he's played more mid because he needs those items. If you are a good Tiny and you know how to rotate and you can get your farm early for Blink, and the enemy team has some squishy supports that you can burst really quickly, Tiny can be good. But if they're really tanky, you don't know how to gank, you're not very good with the hero, I would not suggest picking it as a 4 position because it kind of needs farm and it needs to have impact. And if you're not doing those things to impact the game, you're not going to be as good. But he can be really good and annoying and be like another core. And then Tusk used to be a lot better just based on the meta, but he's still pretty good. I mean, he still has a lot of the good things about him where he has a really good laning stage, and against a lot of carries, if it just doesn't allow the carry to even walk up into the lane sometimes to get last hits, because if you press your abilities as Tusk, you can just like insta-kill the carry. And so I just know as playing carry, it can be really annoying when we have a 4 Tusk in the lane because I can feel like I can't do anything or I'm just going to get killed. I'm going to get sharded and all those things. And tag teamed and snowballed, and it's just going to be like my death over and over again. So if you know how to play Tusk and you're against the right lineup, it can be really good. And then we have Shadow Demon. He's really good because his kit is just in general good, but I think also he is good against these illusion heroes because he can spawn illusions, obviously like Terrorblade and other things like that. And he also has a good purge ability. I think he has a break as well with his ult and things like that. So this just allows him to be really good against other heroes that, with he's slowing them down, he's purging them constantly. It's just really good, and then he's good against illusion heroes. So that's another hero that's kind of like Earth Spirit in the sense that if you don't know how to play him, it'd be hard to figure out how to play him. He's not as good in pubs. He's kind of matchup dependent, but he still can be really good. And next we have C tier. The difference between C tier and D tier for me is that C tier is... It just feels like these heroes are more impactful generally than these heroes, and these heroes are more niche in the sense that, Tree's pretty good right now, gives good vision, his ult's always pretty good in team fights, heals towers, things like that can be pretty easy to play. With farm, he can be really annoying as well with like if he gets even Ags, obviously for vision, but if he gets Meteor Hammer, it can be really good to push. We have Rubik. He can always be good if you're a Rubik player, know how to steal spells, know how to play him, can always be pretty good. Spirit Breaker, I see Spirit Breaker sometimes against some lineups, and he just feels extremely overpowered with, not allowing split pushing and stuff like that. And then we have similarly Wind Ranger. She feels like if you know how to play her and you play her 4 position correctly, she can feel like another core sometimes. It can feel really good. But if you're not good with her and you don't know how to play her, she can feel like underwhelming, like you're griefing the game. So I would just be wary of that. Undying and Earthshaker, similar like 4 positions in the sense that they have really good team fight. Earthshaker has a lot of stuns. Undying is similar just in the sense that he doesn't have a lot of stuns, but he just denies area. He's like how he's always played with the Tombstone. He can be pretty good, but he's not as good as he was in past patches. Earthshaker similarly, he is really good with these stuns, but is not the best. Can sometimes feel underwhelming if you're not getting his blink dagger fast enough, and you can feel like you're just doing absolutely nothing in team fights and even griefing your team if you don't know how to play him and use his fissure incorrectly. So that's my C tier. Then D tier, we have Invoker, Enigma, Venge, Pugna, Sky, Bounty, Clockwork, Omni, and Venno. I think all of these heroes, they can have impact. Like Invoker can be good if you're an Invoker player. Enigma, his ult is always good. Sky can do a ton of damage. Venge just kind of feels underwhelming, and Bounty can be good, but it just feels underwhelming. Pugna is more of a mid, but can push towers and kind of things. Clockwork can be okay, and same thing with Omni and Venno. But like all these heroes, they have their places, but you can still pick them. But unless you're really, really good with the hero, I mean, I like to play Skywrath and Bounty 4, but I like know what I'm doing, and they're the heroes I play, but even sometimes they feel super underwhelming. So, and like Enigma can always feel good with the ult, but sometimes you just like do nothing in the entire game. So it's one of those things that these heroes can be picked, but they just don't feel great all that often. And then we have our F tier. We have Pudge. Never pick Pudge. He sucks. It's just, sorry, it sucks that Pudge sucks, but he just sucks. So that's just how it is. Just don't pick this hero ever. You're probably just going to be sitting in trees, missing hooks, and doing absolutely nothing but stealing experience, and it's going to feel really, really, really bad for you and your teammates. Unless you're like a Pudge spammer and it's the only thing you play and you know how to play him. It's like 1 in every 10 Pudge games that I see. You actually have a good Pudge and he's like a god. But other than that, don't pick Pudge. And then we have Sniper and Zeus. They're like the same hero, just one does physical damage and one does magic damage. I think that they're just like terrible because of the mobility. They don't really have stuns. The Sniper Ags that you get just doesn't stun long enough anymore, and it like takes forever to get now, so you're just like kind of doing nothing for the whole time. You're almost like farming for the first 20 minutes and just feels terrible, like you're griefing your team. So don't pick that. Don't pick Zeus. He probably needs way more farm than he gets, and he's just like easy food for the enemy. And then Techies, obviously never pick this hero. Do not pick this hero. If you play this hero and you main this hero, stop playing Dota, please. We don't want you to play Dota. It ruins the game for 9 other people. Yes, you may be having fun because you picked Techies, and you like Techies because you can just kind of mindlessly place mines all around the map, but it ruins the game for everyone else. The people on your team are wondering why in the hell we have a Techies, and it's a 4v5 every fight. You're like, why are we losing these fights? Oh, that's right, because it's 4v5. And then the enemy team's like, oh, they have a Techies, I can never push a lane. Let's just jungle for 50 minutes. And so that's Techies. Don't pick Techies. I don't care if people are picking him in the pros. Techies is almost always going to be F tier unless they change how Techies works. Don't pick this hero. That's just my personal opinion. Do not pick this hero. So that is my position for tier list. If you have any disagreements, if you think someone should be higher or lower or anything like that, just let me know in the comments. As always, I'm open to suggestions. And as usual, leave a like, comment, subscribe. I hope you liked the video, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.